Hi everyone, here's my second video suggesting some updates on the sets in the game right now, because we have the big balancing update coming up in Season 22. The PTR is gonna come out rather soon, and so this kind of gave me the motivation to make these videos. And I already covered Barb and Crusader, the two strength classes, in the other video, and here we go over Monk and Demon Hunter. So it's just like, talking about some ideas of, what I believe the set should be about, some mechanical changes, something I would like to see and so on. And maybe some additions to, not just the numbers tweaks, but just in general of, what would be cool to see, I guess. So here we go. Let's start with the Monk. And yeah, first of all, we have Uliana here. So I think that Uliana is overall a pretty fun, pretty cool playstyle. And I would just, maybe tweak that a little bit, double down on the auto EP kind of playstyle, just going really fast, like pew, 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 dashing around, using seven-sided strike, go boom, and, go next, kind of like that. And just make it, very fast paced in that regard. And then on the other hand, you have the inner, where you have like this manual EP, where you have like this very careful setup, try to hit the right target with Exploding Palm, kill like this one small spider that sets off the chain reaction and everything explodes on your convention. So this is already how it's kind of played, but maybe you could see some, some other tweak here as well, where you can get like a massive bonus again, kind of like you're warding the big boom, and then everything melts, and maybe have like some kind of like leftover explosions that can also like finish off the high HP targets, I don't know, maybe something like that, kind of like an echoing effect or something. So maybe something like that would be pretty cool if they add like another item for the Exploding Palm in that regard. Raymond, yeah, make static charge great again. So I think static charge in Season 4 was really cool. Don't have to make it work with the group members and so on again, but just in general, it's like, it's sad that this is not really used. I think it's just like Mangle that people use, and that's about it. We have Combination Strike, which is a really cool passive where you're incentivized to use different generators and deal damage with different skills and so on. So maybe they could also be baked into the set a little bit, so that you can have like even like 3 generators on your bar even, or something like that, and you get like a stacking buff for each of them, and maybe like some crazy attack speeds and crazy damage reduction, and it just becomes crazier and crazier the more you like maybe do like a triple combo with every single one of them, or something like that, where you have like crazy micromanagement basically, and that gives you some nice buffer. So I don't know, maybe some ideas to consider. Justice, I think is overall a well-received set, the Tempest Rush. I also really enjoyed pushing it in Season 20. It was also like one of my most successful runs. I really liked the Shenlong in Season 20. So when you had the cube effect, where you can use everything, you had like 3 weapons in the cube, and you used Shenlongs equipped, and that was super fun. So I think that, adding some kind of like one extra skill, one extra mechanic, something like that, or something where you activate something, or I don't know, it has to be something that can be activated while channeling, I guess. So there's not really that many options, but it would be amazing to have a little bit more dynamic for like the big bursts playstyle when you're pushing with it, because otherwise you're just like kind of like running in circles and then do a boom every 20 seconds. With the Shenlong, it did have another really interesting mechanic that you had to play around, and it was kind of like, it was like partly passive because you had to manage or just wait for your resources, but you also had to manage them actively by using your mantra, by using just the other skills, and that was amazing. So it doesn't have to be Shenlong, but something similar would be cool, I think. Otherwise, it's a pretty good set. Sunwoku, yeah, I think Sunwoku could see a little bit more like exciting mechanics. So Wave of Light and Dash and Tail Kicks are like the prime candidates to be used here. And both of these are kind of like, okay, left click or right click everything to death. Not really interesting, I believe. For the 16 farming, this is totally fine. Like, Sunwoku T16 farm is really amazing. You can dash around, kill stuff really fast. So this is good. But, in any kind of like pushing scenario, it's just that. And that's not really fun enough, I believe. So I don't know what you could do. Maybe add another skill, maybe add some stacking mechanic, I don't know. Maybe the Wave of Light can be also, maybe something like this echoing effect. There's also like this weapon where, like Rabbit Strike, I think it's called, where you get like a second shot when you hit something during Epiphany. Maybe that could also be something like you have like, one Wave of Light that gets like repeated over and over. I don't know, something like that. LOD, I don't think really needed on the Monk. I think Monk works fine without LOD. There's not really many skills left out from the sets, so this is overall okay. And traditionally, there was not really much on LOD with Monk, besides like Thomas 65 with Level Light and so on. So for the Demon Hunter, yeah, I think that most of the Demon Hunter sets are actually kind of fine already. You know, they're very distinct and have their own unique playstyles, so that's pretty good. But there's still, you know, some stuff that could be changed. So let's start with the God set, the new set. Yeah, I think we need a massive buff to bowlers because they're just way too weak. And, you know, even for T16, it's kind of hard to make them work. Kind of sad. So yeah, just give us some numbers, I guess. That's fine. And it will be okay. And to nerf it, because it has to be nerfed, I believe that the least annoying and least impactful nerf would be a cap to hanging arrow pierces, so that it kind of like just disappears after like 20 pierces, for example. That will keep it, you know, very close to what it is right now in any kind of like, you know, farming scenario for most people, even in pushing, because yeah, most people just don't push like to the very high end where you have like these massive pulls and massive maps and so on. So yeah, there would not be noticed much. It would kind of like, you know, shift more damage towards like, you know, fewer targets, towards like the low pierce count scenarios. So it's not that annoying to kill a Rift Guardian, because Rift Guardians are a huge issue on high tiers. So just in general, you know, kind of like tuning it down a bit by some tiers on the high end, by reducing the dependency on density. So overall, I think this would be a really good change. Make it more fun while nerfing it. And yeah, that would probably be what we should do here. Otherwise, you know, fix the momentum bugs and so on, please. We had to play like a full season now with the momentum bugs. It's really annoying. So yeah, it would be nice to see that done. Marauders, yeah, I think overall pretty cool set, but I would like to remove the grenades at some point. Maybe keep it as a viable option as well, but I want to see those big impacts. You know, I want to shoot cluster arrow. I want to see boom. You know, I don't want to shoot cluster bombs all the time. I want to see my sentries deal some damage and not do like, you know, only 1% of my total damage output. So you know, I don't want to roll off 100% damage roll, 100% sentry on my bombardiers. I want to keep that and to actually have it, you know, useful. So these are just kind of like some problems with the Marauders overall, I guess. So maybe there could be a new item like buff the cluster arrow impact and or the rockets. That could even be used for multi-shot, for example. Could even maybe be good enough for some kind of like Vengeance playstyle, because Vengeance also has rockets, for example. So yeah, it's just some ideas basically in that regard. Natalia, I think Natalia is also pretty cool, but a little bit too boring if you just focus on Rain of Vengeance. It does have the Fan of Nice builds, and I think the Fan of Nice builds should also be, you know, kept viable, just because they're nice. They have like this big boom mechanic that's really amazing, and you can even set it up, you know, try to kill something with your Rain of Vengeance over time, get an Oculus Ring, and then even have an even bigger boom sometimes with it feels amazing in that way. So this is nice, but I would also buff the 4-piece bonus on Rain of Vengeance on the Natalia. So yeah, just focus a bit more on Rain of Vengeance, even for other builds. And you know, give a Crashing Rain a big buff. You know, Crashing Rain was really amazing back in season 3, back in season 4. You had like this targeted nuke while you had this AoE around everywhere. So that was a really nice combo. So just, you know, giving more emphasis on Rain of Vengeance and Crashing Rain would be cool. And it would also be really neat to kind of like change the Rain of Vengeance. You know, have like a really big effect where it covers like the entire screen, and then you just have like something you trigger, like maybe a preparation, maybe counter-ups, I don't know, where you can change it back and forth basically to like a more focused area and deal more damage or so. That would be cool to kind of like finish off elites and so on. There could also be something like stacking buff, you know, the longer you keep them in your Rain of Vengeance. So like a new item, maybe like a weapon or so, I don't know. And yeah, just in general, maybe they could also kind of like reduce the dependency on Dawn, so that instead of Dawn you want to go with that weapon because it's really nice and so on. So yeah, maybe something like that. So we need more builds in general without Dawn. Maybe we also need like an item that is kind of like a reverse Dawn, so that you kind of like use Vengeance as a cooldown, and you actually get like a buff for being outside of Vengeance for a while. So yeah, just some idea. Shadows, I think overall is a well working build. It's like, very popular, especially among the more casual people. It's tanky, it's easy to play, it's just like, all around. And it would be nice to see Chakram and Fan of Knives used there, because that also, feels very like ninja. And yeah, they have never really been used. There was like a little time with Fan of Knives there, but yeah, that was quite annoying. So I think we need like an actual buff for these skills through the set, and make kind of like an AoE or like a ranged playstyle possible. Maybe even add another item that makes kind of like a sniping impale style possible. Maybe give like, some alternating damage buffs. When you use impale, you buff Chakram. When you use Chakram, you use impale, and so on. Something like that would be pretty amazing. And Unhurled Essence here. Yeah, Unhurled Essence I think overall is fine. It just needs to be a little stronger for the pushing, and you can't really just buff the damage of Unhurled Essence, because it has so much like kind of like instant damage, and that it would just be ridiculous at some point. Can't really buff it because it just blows everything away for farming, I guess, for like low tiers and T16 and so on. It is already very, very good. So we need an item that is kind of like Shield of Fury maybe. Yeah, you can kind of like stack it up and deal more damage over time. That doesn't really do anything for farming, but it would be kind of like what enables you to push higher. And LOD, yeah, I would really like to see some spike trap action. So I believe that spike traps in vanilla were like one of the most fun skills to use. I really enjoyed that. And back then we had the Echoing Blast, and how it worked was you put it on the ground, and when an enemy walked over it, it would be triggered, and it would explode 3 times in like a short sequence. So something like that as a new item would be amazing. Maybe even with the automatic trigger, not like the manual trigger like we have right now. And you can kind of bring that style back, give like a massive cooldown reduction on Dragul coils, a huge damage buff somewhere, maybe add like a quiver or so for like an extra damage buff for this other effect and so on. Maybe you can give it some pulling. Yeah, just more utility as well, I guess, even for support DH. Yeah, some stuff like this basically. So I think that would be amazing. Otherwise, we don't really need a lot of lot builds. There's rapid fire now, but it can also kind of like play that higher rapid fire if there would be like a bit more damage reduction, I guess. And honestly, I don't really think that we have to care about rapid fire too much, because yeah, it's like such a passive build. Yeah, it's probably fine where it is. Yeah, so these are like some of my ideas for the Monk and the Demon Hunter, and I hope you enjoyed these. Let me know what you think. Maybe you have some other cool ideas. Maybe you don't like something at all. Yeah, but otherwise I hope you enjoyed my thoughts and you liked this video. I'll see you guys next time.